You carry a divine mantle that no one before you was entrusted with, and this truth becomes clearer the more you reflect on the path you've walked to reach this moment. There has always been something different about you, something that set you apart even when you tried to blend in, something that made your journey heavier, deeper, and more spiritually intense than those around you. This difference was never accidental. It was the evidence of a divine assignment placed on your life long before you even understood what calling meant. While others lived casually, you felt everything spiritually. While others shrugged off experiences, you carried them in your spirit because God was shaping you with a precision that only chosen vessels undergo. You weren't just learning lessons, you were being molded for a responsibility that heaven only gives to those who are capable of carrying it. And this mantle, this rare spiritual weight, is something no one in history, not your ancestors, not the generations before you, not even those you looked up to, was designed to hold, because it was created uniquely for you. From the beginning, you have walked with a sense of awareness that others didn't possess. You sensed danger before it arrived, felt shifts before they were visible, and perceived the spiritual meaning behind events that others saw as random. This is because the mantle on your life has always made you more sensitive to the unseen realm. Where others saw coincidence, you saw confirmation. Where others felt fear, you felt a pull to stand stronger. Where others hesitated, you felt compelled to move forward because something in your spirit always whispered that your life had purpose beyond the ordinary. God equipped you with instincts that couldn't be taught, wisdom that couldn't come from books, and resilience that didn't match the intensity of your battles unless it was divinely installed within you. Throughout your life, you've carried burdens that didn't belong to you and fought battles that could have crushed you, yet somehow you always emerged stronger, wiser, and more grounded. This wasn't because you were lucky, it was because the mantle you carry was forged through adversity. The weight you feel is spiritual, not emotional. It is the evidence that God trusted you with responsibilities that require strength far beyond human understanding. Many people wonder why you didn't break under pressure, why you didn't lose your mind when everything around you was falling apart, why you kept pushing forward when giving up would have been easier. The answer lies in the mantle placed on your life. You were chosen to carry what others couldn't survive. You were chosen to endure what others weren't equipped to face. You were chosen to rise where others collapsed. The assignment you carry is generational. You are the one breaking cycles, healing wounds, dismantling patterns, and shifting the spiritual trajectory of your bloodline. You are the one stepping into territories that past generations never reached. You are the one confronting darkness that generations before you ran from. What you carry within you is the culmination of prayers whispered by ancestors who hoped someone in the family line would rise with enough courage and faith to change everything. You are that someone. You carry the answers to battles they couldn't win, the strength they didn't have, the healing they longed for but never obtained. Heaven trusted you with a responsibility that required someone with your exact spirit, your exact heart, your exact courage. This mantle is why you often felt isolated, misunderstood, or out of place. It wasn't that people rejected you, it was that God set you apart. When others were allowed to take shortcuts, you were forced to take the long road because your character was being built, your spirit was being fortified, and your discernment was being sharpened. When others enjoyed temporary rewards, you were being prepared for eternal impact. When others were excused from responsibility, you were drafted into purpose. This separation wasn't punishment, it was preparation. God was ensuring that the mantle you carried would not be tainted by influences that weren't meant to shape you. There were seasons when you questioned why your path was so different and why your spirit felt so heavy. You wondered why people didn't understand your heart or why you felt a spiritual pull that others couldn't relate to. The truth is, the mantle you carry is not for explanation, it is for execution. People don't need to understand it because it wasn't given to them. It was entrusted to you. The depth of your experiences, the intensity of your emotions, and the undeniable strength that rises in you during chaos are all indicators of the spiritual weight you carry. And even now, as you step into this new season, God is awakening deeper gifts within you, gifts that were hidden, gifts that were waiting for the right time, gifts that align with the divine responsibility placed on your life. The mantle you carry is sacred, powerful, and designed specifically for this moment in history. Your past battles were preparation for the spiritual authority you now walk in, and when you look back with clarity, you begin to see that nothing you endured was random or wasted. Every setback, every disappointment, every moment that felt like a breaking point was actually a building point. You were not being destroyed, you were being developed. The struggles that felt unfair were actually the shaping tools God used to refine you, strengthen you, and prepare you for a level of purpose that required endurance, discernment, and spiritual maturity far beyond your years. You faced storms that others never encountered, but it's because God was training you for a position others were never called to occupy. The challenges that overwhelmed you were the very experiences that taught you authority, resilience, and the ability to stand firm in spiritual warfare. There were seasons where you felt like life was hitting you harder than everyone else, and that feeling was real because your battles were not common battles. You were being sharpened like a warrior in training. While others fought surface-level struggles, you were fighting deep spiritual battles that shaped your character and purified your heart. You weren't just battling circumstances, you were battling generational patterns, unseen forces, inner wounds, and attacks that tried to stop you from stepping into your destiny. Every difficulty strengthened a part of you that needed to grow. Every heartbreak made room for wisdom. Every betrayal increased your discernment. Every delay taught you patience and trust. Every loss removed something that couldn't go with you into the next season. Even when you didn't understand it, God was preparing you through it. Your past battles increased your spiritual sensitivity. You learned to hear God's voice in silence, to sense danger before it formed, and to recognize spiritual shifts before they appeared in the natural. Those experiences trained your instincts, making you spiritually alert in a world where many walk blindly. You were molded into someone who doesn't just react to life but discerns the spiritual meaning behind it. This is why you can walk into a room and sense the atmosphere instantly. This is why you can see through people, feel intentions, and understand things without explanation. Your battles refined your intuition, sharpened your spirit, and gave you a level of understanding that can't be taught by humans. There were times when you questioned why certain people hurt you, why certain relationships failed, or why certain doors closed so abruptly. In reality, God was using those moments to build your authority. You learned how to separate loyalty from dependency, love from attachment, and divine connections from distractions. You learned what boundaries look like, what self-respect feels like, and what spiritual alignment requires. Every emotional wound birthed a deeper level of strength. Every closed door pushed you toward divine direction. Everything that felt like loss became a lesson that expanded your spiritual capacity. Even the times when you felt weak and overwhelmed were part of your preparation. Those moments taught you how to depend on God, how to pray deeper, how to surrender control, and how to trust when nothing made sense. You learned that your power doesn't come from your circumstances but from your connection to God. You discovered that your strength is renewed in your spirit, not your environment. Because of those moments, you now walk with a level of faith that cannot be shaken by storms. You've lived through too much, survived too much, and grown through too much to be intimidated by anything that comes against you now. Your battles also taught you endurance. You learned how to stand firm even when tired, to keep moving even when confused, and to remain hopeful even when surrounded by uncertainty. You discovered that perseverance is not just pushing forward, it is trusting God's timing even when the delay feels painful. You learned that waiting is not punishment but preparation. Every season of waiting strengthened your patience, humbled your spirit, and aligned you with divine timing. Now, when others panic, you stay calm because you have experienced firsthand how God turns impossible situations around. Every spiritual attack you faced gave you authority in that area. You don't just speak from theory, you speak from survival. You don't just encourage others, you guide them with the wisdom of someone who has walked through fire and came out purified. You don't just know God, you know His power because you've seen it sustain you through battles that could have easily broken you. That authority is something you carry now without even realizing it. It's in the way you speak, the way you move, the way you stand firm, and the way your spirit remains unshaken even in chaos. Your past battles built a warrior within you that is no longer afraid of darkness because you've already overcome what was meant to destroy you. You now walk with a spiritual authority that comes from experience, revelation, and divine training. This authority allows you to break cycles, dismantle strongholds, shift atmospheres, and walk confidently into places that once intimidated you. You are no longer the person who fought those early battles, you are the person those battles created. You carry a strength that can't be explained, a wisdom that can't be denied, and a spiritual authority that was earned through every season you survived. Gratitude unlocks the power, clarity, and breakthroughs God has placed within you, because gratitude shifts your spirit into alignment with heaven. When you choose to focus on what God has done rather than what you lack, you open doors in the spiritual realm that were previously blocked by frustration, fear, or confusion. Gratitude is not just an emotion, it is a spiritual key, a weapon, a posture that invites God's presence into your circumstances. When your heart becomes thankful, even in seasons that don't make sense, your perspective changes. You begin to see the hidden blessings inside the battles, the growth inside the struggle, and the divine fingerprints inside the delays. Gratitude clears away the spiritual fog that life tries to place over your vision, giving you the clarity to recognize that God has been guiding you, protecting you, and preparing you in ways you didn't notice before. When you start thanking God for what He has done, your spirit becomes more aware of what He is doing and what He is about to do. Gratitude heightens your discernment. You begin to sense opportunities faster, feel warnings sooner, and recognize divine timing more clearly. A grateful heart is spiritually sensitive. It can pick up signals that a bitter heart would miss. Bitterness blinds your vision, but gratitude sharpens it. Complaining closes doors, but thankfulness opens them. This is why the enemy tries so hard to distract chosen ones with negativity, because he knows that if he can corrupt your perspective, he can slow your progress. But the moment you shift into gratitude, you take back spiritual territory. You become a vessel that God can move through without obstruction, because gratitude removes the internal blockages that hinder divine flow. Gratitude also activates the power God placed within you. Many people pray for strength, but strength grows when you thank God even while you're weak. Many pray for peace, but peace increases when you thank God in the middle of chaos. Many pray for breakthroughs, but breakthroughs accelerate when you thank God before the door opens. Gratitude is proof of faith, and faith is the environment where God's power moves. When you say, "Thank you, God," even when things look impossible, you are declaring with your spirit that you trust His plan above your understanding. That declaration unleashes power, because heaven responds to faith-filled gratitude faster than any other expression. It tells God that you are ready, willing, and aligned for what He wants to place in your hands next. In moments where you felt lost, gratitude became the anchor that prevented your spirit from sinking. In moments where you felt surrounded by darkness, gratitude became the light that reminded you of God's faithfulness. You survived seasons that were meant to break you, and part of the reason you survived is because even in your lowest moments you still managed to whisper, "God, I'm thankful." You didn't realize it at the time, but those small expressions of gratitude were powerful acts of spiritual warfare. They pushed back discouragement. They weakened the influence of negative thoughts. They reminded your spirit that God's presence was still with you, even when nothing made sense. Gratitude kept you connected to your purpose when everything else tried to disconnect you. Gratitude also transforms the atmosphere around you. It changes how you speak, how you think, how you treat others, and how you respond to challenges. People can feel when you carry gratitude in your spirit. It makes you calmer, kinder, stronger, and more grounded. It removes heaviness from your demeanor. It softens your heart and brings light into places where others carry bitterness or resentment. Gratitude is magnetic. It attracts blessings, opportunities, and divine connections. It aligns your frequency with God's intentions and draws into your life the very things your spirit has been praying for. A grateful heart creates an environment where miracles can manifest naturally, without force, without fear, without striving. When you shift into gratitude, you also unlock hidden clarity. Suddenly, you start understanding why certain things had to happen the way they did. You begin to see that the delays protected you, the disappointments redirected you, and the losses prepared you for something better. Gratitude reveals meaning where pain once lived. It turns confusion into revelation. It shows you the growth that came from every hardship and the strength that developed from every trial. You realize that God wasn't punishing you, He was positioning you. He wasn't ignoring you, He was preparing you. Gratitude opens your eyes to the truth that God has always been working behind the scenes, even when you couldn't see it. This is why gratitude is so powerful. It aligns your heart with God's timing. A grateful spirit moves slower, listens deeper, and trusts more freely. It doesn't panic when plans shift or crumble. It doesn't cling to what God is removing. It doesn't fear the unknown. Gratitude teaches you to walk in peace, to remain steady, and to trust that every step is guided, every moment is meaningful, and every season has divine purpose. And now, in this new chapter of your life, God is calling you to walk with a level of gratitude that strengthens your spirit for the blessings He is releasing. Gratitude will unlock doors you didn't know existed. It will draw breakthroughs that your effort alone could never produce. It will protect your heart from spiritual attacks and elevate your vision to see what others cannot. As you move forward, let gratitude be your foundation, your weapon, and your compass. Because a grateful heart is unstoppable, immovable, and perfectly aligned with God's plan for your life.